what is the state of the union for real estate in Richmond going into 2023? Things are looking healthy. It is ready, steady is the game. We are definitely not seeing anything indicating that values are going to tank. Hey guys, this is Erin. If this is your first time to our channel and you want to learn all there is to know about living in Richmond, Virginia, tap that like button, hit subscribe, and click that little bell so you're notified every time we release a new video. So it's time for a State of the Union, a look at how is real estate faring in Richmond, Virginia come the second half of 2022 and going into 2023. How are things looking? Well, we definitely have seen a change. And let's really look at how things were different from the first half of 2022 as opposed to the second half of 2022 in Richmond. Nationally, some spots saw an appreciation rate of up to 20%. Richmond is always a little bit more moderate, but we still were at a 14% appreciation rate from 2021 to 2022, the first half of 2022, which is extremely high, and we knew that that was not sustainable. One of the biggest factors that we saw affecting real estate in Richmond, in the Richmond area, the second half of 2022 is the exact same reason that real estate was affected throughout the country, and that was because of a phenomenon that had not happened in American real estate history in 1 year that we could look at, and that had to do with the interest rates. The interest rates, I mean, they doubled in 1 year's time, and that's got to make a difference. And it definitely made a difference in how real estate was being sold and how much real estate was being sold. But how much? I think it's really important to not look at the headlines and think that that's the way it is everywhere. I'm going to give you some really good stats so you know exactly what's going on here in the Richmond area. So active listings for residential homes were steadily trending up, but only slightly above a total count of about 6,000. Yes, in July or August of this year, we saw them jump to 7,000. So, you know, that was a little bit of a jump. It was September, October, and November that we saw things jump to 8,000 of active listings. So that's a pretty big difference, particularly with things have just traditionally, the inventory has been, lack of inventory has been the hot topic since 2020 in Richmond and really throughout the entire country. Let's talk about days on market, because that's a big indicator on why people can feel like all of a sudden like, oh my God, everything has stopped. But let's really put this in perspective. For Richmond, the residential real estate, the average days on market were 15. And that only increased to 25 days on average days of market in the latter part of the year. So it's not that much of a difference. This is a good thing for buyers and not a bad thing for sellers in Richmond. It's only different. And I think it's really important for anyone that's looking to move here, anyone that's looking to potentially sell their house in 2023 to not be afraid because of things you're seeing or people are talking about. So the average list to sales price ratios, they were up to 104% at the first half of 2022. And let me explain that a little bit to you. It's a very simple concept, is what homes are listing at as opposed to what they're selling at. What is that average ratio? And it really had been trending up, and we were up to 104% at the earlier part of the year. By July of 2022 here in Richmond, by the end to the end of the year, the list price to sales price ratios were right at 100%. So what does that tell you? Sellers are still getting things at, on average, are still getting their asking price if they price appropriately from the get-go. And this is a great encouragement to buyers that really had kind of been, had a really difficult time in the past few years because of lack of inventory, and also because of going like, well, that's the price, but what is the real price? So another indicator of how things are different for sellers and also how it could be different for buyers out in the Richmond market would be the original median sales price. It had been steadily trending up until the end of May for 2022, and it didn't drop. It simply leveled right at about 350 So it had been steadily trending up, and that's the average median sales price for all residential properties, taking into account condos, townhouses, and single-family properties. All right, so what are the hot topics on everyone's mind when it comes to residential real estate in the Richmond area right now? Well, of course, interest rates. That is omnipresent on everyone's mind, and it really, the proverbial poop hit the fan this summer when we saw things just keep on going up, 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 up. The good thing to know is it did not debilitate the market here in Richmond. And if anything, I was super impressed to see how lenders, sellers, even sellers, and buyers really all came together as a community, and I can hats off to the rest of the realtors, myself in the community, because really everybody did come together and get real inventive about things. And what I mean by that, we have definitely seen the return of the seller concession, and mostly to help with the buy down of rates. So lenders are offering different programs for buy downs. Sellers are open to it and understand it, and they're talking to their neighbors, and they're seeing even that area builders are offering some pretty amazing incentives to move inventory homes, and we are seeing a slight tick down rather than the prices of new construction homes in Richmond continue to just go through the roof, up, 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 up. That's another great thing is, as I still don't know exactly what we're in, are we post-pandemic? I'm not quite sure, but we are definitely seeing also a leveling, at least in the Richmond market, of building materials and getting things in. So that really has helped considerably. Yes, we have seen some price correction, but really in all actuality, things are remaining steady. So I saw a really great analogy recently, and it had to do with if you are driving a car. Let's say you're driving, what are you gonna be driving? You're driving your Tesla in ludicrous mode, and you are going super, super, super fast, and you come around the bend on 95 and you see a state trooper sitting there waiting for you. Well, you're going to slam on the brakes, and it's gonna feel like you are going 0, but instead of going 120, you're now going 60 miles per hour. So you have not stopped, you have simply slowed down, and that has generally been the overall experts and what we've been seeing as real estate professionals in the market, particularly in Richmond, is it's not a de-appreciation of properties, it is simply the deceleration of the rate of appreciation. And by all means, that really needed to happen. And so pricing, yes, we are seeing things perhaps what seems like, oh my God, things are being decreased. It's leveling, it's steadying. So again, we are still looking at inflation being a very hot topic as well here in Richmond. I mean, the average rental rate is still through the roof in the Richmond area, and more and more, any kind of homeowners that are looking at things, that still is the best bang for their buck to buy a home. Let's talk about inventory, because more than anything, that has made such a difference since May of this year in the Richmond area. So right at about, we really, for a Richmond area, when you're looking at all of residential real estate, right up at about 3 months worth of inventory until about August, September, and October of this year. So it actually went past when us as real estate agents saw a true shift in the market. It was unmistakable. It was the end of May at the very part of July. I mean, there was like a sound. That was how different it was. But really, we were right at about 3 months worth of inventory. And little quick definition on that, a level market is when you are at 6 months. So it's neither a buyer's market nor a seller's market, because it's going to take 6 months to sell all the inventory that's on the market. So obviously, average at 3, we were still at very low market times. So really, it wasn't until August, September, October, and then in November, we actually saw things go slightly over 5 months worth of supply. So that's a big jump from where we were. I mean, 2021, We were lucky in most of the areas if we were even ticking or even brushing 1 month's worth of supply. I mean, we were lucky at that. So we definitely have seen things go up. But we did also see it dip right back down to where it had been for the entirety of 2022 in December. We really saw that come down for sure. So how are things feeling for 2023? Are we looking like it is going to be a market crash? Are we going to see things looking like they were after 2008? And the answer right now is no. Simply what we're looking to see, and everything is trending towards that, would be we are simply going to see things keeping fairly level and steady, not necessarily dipping. Steady. Steady is what we're looking at. Consumer confidence is still extremely high, and I know this for sure because of all the people that continue to contact me that are very much moving into the area. We have people contacting us every day, coming from all parts of the country and even from over in Europe, moving over, and everyone very excited about buying a house in Richmond. It's still a wonderful investment and a great place to live. It is definitely better now for consumers now that the rates are leveling and that everything statistically is showing that they're going to continue to level. Perhaps we'll see things tick up and down as they do on the rates for sure, and I always encourage you to get in touch with your preferred lender who definitely knows how to do things. There are some great programs out there now to keep things down and knowing how to float things properly. So the consumer confidence too comes from another factor that probably a lot of people wouldn't even think about, that, and is that they actually have time to think about one of the most major purchases that you make on a property. And that is really important. Maybe sellers don't want to hear that. Maybe realtors who have gotten used to putting a house in the market, and some, not us, got real sloppy and would maybe throw up some pictures from their outdated iPhone and be like, I don't have to do anything. Somebody could take a poop in the kitchen and sell it. That has changed, but if you have remained steadfast to providing great service and doing things the right way, this isn't that much of a change. It's more of a getting back to good practices, but people do have a little bit more time to think. And my goodness, we definitely saw that in the Richmond market, the fourth quarter, particularly in December in Richmond, whereas things could be priced at an amazing price, and people would kind of be circling around. I'm gonna take a little time, because they knew they had time. And frankly, they haven't had that in the past few years. Has that been a good thing? Has it been a bad thing? I think it's really good for people to have some time, and I think it's good as sellers to see that people have time, because really they're going off and they're buying other houses in Richmond, and it's nice for them. It's nice to have a little bit more of an even playing field, the way it's supposed to be, and I think it helps people out considerably. But do not be mistaken, and this is me not making up things, this is 100% the fact. The hot spots are still very hot in the Richmond area. And so by all means, do not think all of a sudden, and I think there are some buyers that are running around thinking, oh, things have changed, so now I can just, someone's gonna give me their house. It isn't gonna be like that. Let me give you a really good example. I have some amazing clients that have absolutely been affected by the market because they're moving from another area. They had to sell a home in another area, and that's taken a little bit longer than maybe it would have earlier part of the year, even last year for sure. They got it under contract. We were hot to trot, looking out there for a property. We found a great property that was at $850, right? And they put in an offer, and there were multiple offers. There were 5 other offers besides ours. And I know of the one that was accepted. The agent was great about sharing with me that more than half of the offers that came in were well over $900,000. There were no concessions being paid to the sellers, which is unusual in this market right now, and there were no contingencies. So by no means, do not think that what we were seeing back in the past few years, earlier part of this year, definitely into 2021, and even in 2020, when inventory was at all-time lows, we are still seeing those in the hot spots. Same with other buyers that we've been out with, and even with our listings that are out there. It is amazing to me to still see the multiple offers. It's simply not the frenzy that we maybe would have seen earlier part of 2022 and definitely in 2021. Another indicator of where consumer confidence and how things are looking for 2023, whenever I'm ratifying contracts on the holidays, whenever I'm getting inquiries right around Thanksgiving, and I was ratifying sales right at Thanksgiving and putting in offers right around Thanksgiving. I was ratifying things right around Christmas time, and definitely, no question about it, New Year's Eve, my phone, my computer, everything was blowing up. So where things might have been a little bit sleepier than normal in Richmond in December, damned if they hadn't. Heated right back up as we're going in the new year. So long story short, what is the state of the union for real estate in Richmond going into 2023? Things are looking healthy. It is ready, steady is the game. We are definitely not seeing anything indicating that values are going to tank. We're also not seeing any indications that rates are going to be shooting up where they were the latter part of 2022. It is a great time to buy a home in the Richmond, Virginia area, and my team and I would be delighted to help you out with finding that perfect home. Once again, if this is your first time to our channel and you want to learn everything there is to know about living in Richmond, Virginia, tap that like button, hit subscribe, and click that little bell so you're notified every time we release a new video.